get started here with this. So
Automatic doors.
automatic doors. This is the only automatic door on the project. It's a multi-component door, so in the floor is the automatic opener, and then it's tied to Onity that controls the the security and the lockdown of the door. So you got multiple functions happening here, but as far as the door goes, it's extremely simple to operate. You hit the push button. Go ahead and tap that.
Hi.
And there's a push button station inside and outside, of course, and a card reader out here on the column. Colby can go through with you what the times have set up on right now as far as the security portion of it.
7 to 10.
So at 7 o'clock in the morning, or whoever swipes the card first, correct? That door will go unlocked, and then at 10 o'clock at night, it will begin locked again. So then you'd need a card to get in the door after 10, and then from 7 to 10 you would not. It's just the push button operation of it. Those are the times we've got set right now. They can be adjusted differently if that's what you want, but that's what they're set up at right now. The operator is completely concealed in the slab in a waterproof can. There is no normal maintenance as far as lubing goes or anything like that. Most likely if something goes wrong with that you're not going to have the knowledge to work on it anyway, an overhead door out of Billings would have to be called in, which would be part of the O&M manual as far as the contact points to come work on that if something goes wrong with that operator. Otherwise, when that operator does need to get worked on, we've left a couple pieces of removable trim at each corner of the door that has to be pulled off. Both doors have to come off the hinges. The threshold has to come out completely. There's a secondary waterproof plate underneath that, gasketed plate, that would have to come off. And then overhead doors would go to begin working on it, whatever malfunctioned with it. But as far as normal maintenance for you guys, there's really nothing for you to do. So anything goes wrong, you're going to end up contacting them.
Where's that timer control set?
What's that?
To alter the time, is that downstairs?
That is downstairs, and I can have Colby show you guys that portion of it where the clock is located to adjust times if you so choose to adjust times beyond 7 and 10.
That would more than likely either be done by location or the locksmith, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I told Kobe I'd go down with him and look at it, so all of us didn't have to go in the crawl space and see the time.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Onity portion of things, as far as when you swipe the card after hours and then push the button, those locks only pull in for a certain amount of time. Onity is the only one that can adjust that. There's no function on there that you can adjust that with.
Now, Onity is back on site on the 22nd for Xanterra programming. That's what Addie's got set up. And so when they return on the 22nd, which is next Monday, they can go through that portion of it with you as well at the same time. But their portion is really independent from the overhead operation of this thing.
As long as there's a timer, that works for me.
Right. And Onity can go through some training with you on the 22nd.
Do those key locks have a function?
They do have a function, but the intent of the design, and I love that statement, but is that the key function would only most likely be used by the owner, by you folks, when the motel is not in use. So then it would be locked down with a key, so that anybody that had a card that could get in wouldn't be coming and going and if the motel was shut down for the winter season.
So my question is, if that ever gets used and this thing is on and somebody hits the button, is there some sort of override that like shuts it off, or do I need to go down and kill the power underneath before somebody uses
Your normal process would be during a winter shutdown, an extended shutdown would be go shut that down. It does have, safety parameters in there that if it's locked, it's not gonna ruin your operator.
Okay.
It's gonna give it a bump, and then it times out and it does not destroy the operator doing it. But a normal function would be for you to go down and shut that operation down for sure.
Right now, it's set up as a first man in, so if you guys were closed and nobody swiped a card, the door will not unlock. But once somebody swipes a card for that day, it'll run through the cycle for that entire day and stay unlocked until 10 p.m.
Gotcha.
Unless if you manually relock it. So if somebody swipes a card and enters here when you guys are closed, they need to make sure that they lock this door. You don't want to shut the panels, power off. You'll lose all the programming.
So how do they relock it?
Manually. They have to relock it manually. So
Do they have backup power on those?
on the panels they do, but again, if you turn them off for 6 weeks,
Right. But they'll write
What
out
if,
power.
but if during the closed season, if this door's not locked, or, yeah, this door's not locked, or middle of the night, it's locked.
that's the
after
manual,
10
the
o'clock.
manual keys.
Yeah, but no manual key, we're open, middle of the night, it's locked after 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Somebody at 11 o'clock opens the door with their key card.
It'll just relock automatically.
It will,
Yeah.
okay, because it's.
It's just at 7, during the hours that it's programmed to be
I got
unlocked,
you. Okay.
it'll stay locked until somebody swipes a card the first time. If that's noon, that's
So
when
after
it'll unlock.
7 a.m., if someone swipes their card, it'll
Yeah,
unlock it
it'll
for
unlock
the day.
for the day through the cycle, yes.
Until 10 p.m., that's gonna lock
But then it
itself.
stays locked after 10 o'clock, no matter what
Correct.
happens.
And that's gonna take a card swipe every time until 7 a.m.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so as long as we set the timer, it's hands-free. Security doesn't have to come do anything.
You can adjust the timer for unlock and lock.
Cool.
The one you can't adjust is how long it pulls it in for. And that's the concern, is they swipe the card, and push the button, is there enough time for a handicapped person to wheel back and get through? I think Onity needs to
Yeah,
extend
and
the
they're-
unlock time.
Yeah.
And they're the only ones that can do that.
What would you say the lock time should be?
Well, I mean,
Because I think their standard might be like 30 seconds.
I think
for an
it's set
88
up
door.
for 30 seconds.
yeah, it's,
I
just
think
wanna make
that's-
sure that somebody's.
But again, on the 22nd, we can check with Onity on that.
Yeah. 23rd.
When I tested it,
He's
it's-
traveling on the
yeah.
22nd.
30
Start
seconds,
install on
30
the
seconds.
23rd.
It didn't seem like 30 seconds when I tested it,
Okay.
so I want them to.
He
look
did tell me though when he was here that 30 seconds is standard.
Okay.
I just worry about somebody that has to set their bags down and, and try and get in, maybe getting calls.
But as far as the manual key goes, that's a function you guys will have to figure out is in the off season what you're gonna do.
I think in the off season, I'd probably just have it so that, can you have it so that it's just always locked with that timer? You know, rather than us using a manual key on it, I'd rather just be able to issue somebody an Onity key to get in if
Yes,
they need to get in the
Can you make it
hotel.
locked up?
Well,
24?
yeah, but I guess the problem is it doesn't have it's got a 24-hour function. It doesn't have a 365-day-a-year function. So if you guys, no matter what, if you decide you're going to close on September 21st this year for 6 weeks, you would actually have to go in and change it every
That's
time.
fine. That's
You'd
fine.
have to
But
change the
it doesn't
time.
allow you that ability. The only thing you're going to be able to do, there's an on-off in there, and you can turn it off, but in the recycle, it's going to reset again and go to on the
You
next
could
day.
set the time for almost nothing though, right?
Well, yeah, you could turn the
Yeah,
time
or have it
functions
locked
off.
for 5 minutes or
So
something.
that's correct. I
Or
mean, you-
unlock for 5 minutes.
You can manually do that every
Yeah,
time
you could
you
make
want.
it stay unlocked for 5 minutes at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
but
Onity's that way too. You can't just unlock it 24 hours.
And that may be your
Go
easiest
through
way
a
to-
lock cycle.
that may be your easiest way to do it instead of manual keys. But you do have manual keys as well.
Those are still construction locks, those keys.
They are right now.
I'm just more worried about somebody with a manual key locking it when they shouldn't. So I'd almost rekey that door so nobody gets the key.
And you, ultimately on this project, you have very, very few doors that are manual key functions. Very few. Most of them are good.
Did somebody reopen? Does he reopen for like 30 seconds or whatever?
Yeah. Should be. I mean, how
Like
far?
if it hits a wheelchair or something.
Yeah. Well, actually it'll bounce back and re-push the button.
So when the O&M manuals are turned over to you guys, anybody that's bored and wants to read on the maintenance on that, feel free to do so. Probably none of you will, but again, the maintenance on it is pretty maintenance free. overhead door is your contact point. You'll see that in the O&M manual. Something goes funky with it, and that's the direction you're gonna wanna go.
Is there any basic wiring or anything that we could have issues with, like crimping in the doors that could cause issues, or?
It all comes in the back of the crash bar, and it's all, internal from the door frame into the back of the crash bar. Should be no issues there.
And that should be hands off for at least the first year anyway,
Yep,
right?
and of course you got a maintenance warranty on the operator for the first year, if anything was to go wrong there. But no, shouldn't be any maintenance issues at all with how it's wired. The control panel for the few that are gonna go down and look at that with Colby is in the basement right down here. And so the circuitry comes from here back to the door and back out and into that panel. It's all in the slab or under slab.
Should a power failure happen, is there any concern?
Is there backup battery down there, I assume?
There's backup battery. But like we said earlier, if you were to shut it off for off season, the battery isn't gonna last.
Does that backup battery drive the door then?
No.
It only operates the Omni?
What's that?
Yeah. What does-
No, it does. But as far as nothing to function with Onity.
They're, yeah, the Omni one should have its own
That's
backup
correct.
battery.
Has its own and its own panel.
I know something that needs to get looked at probably fairly regularly in terms of battery
Is that where
replacement.
is that where the timer is too?
Correct. And I'll have Colby take you down there and he can show you where both are at. But of course, Onity will have to go through that with you on the 23rd on the Onity side. Otherwise, I don't know. Again, it's a pretty maintenance-free system, so I don't know. Not a lot of training we can go through with you on that. One thing that you will want to check is the timing with Onity on that when they do get here.
Yeah, I know it's off. I'm the one that put that key.
And he
I
did-
think it's like 10 to 6 or something, but we can change that.
Yeah. And he did say that the standard or the standard time was 30 seconds. I know he told me that. I'm not sure if he has it set for that right now or not. We'll just double check. Where did he go now? Yeah. Go grab him again so he can take the couple people that want to go see that control panel.
So I should go film that then?
You should probably go down.
Okay.
Well, they're the, what I guess would you say, the lock? Your
Electronic locking systems.
Yeah. This is their product. Any programming that has to do with this is strictly by them. So, I mean, we have done nothing with that other than wire it up.
That'll be my hands only unless I call you guys in on it.
Yeah, right now, the way we have everything set up right now is on this little time clock here. There is a manual off. The door is just locked. When I have it in the on position, it runs through its normal time sequences. You were wanting to know about setting times. It's just, like any other time clock, you're gonna have your timer, set your days, your hours.
So let's change it to 6 a.m. right now. I'm pretty sure that's when
Okay. So it is in military time. So. Okay, 6 a.m. till
10 p.m.
Okay. 10 p.m. That's an off function. Sorry, I forgot to say that. And so you can cycle through, however many you want. But,
Oh, okay.
So function 1 is on at 6 a.m. Function 2 is off at 10 p.m. Clock is set, so I believe we can just. Okay, we are on. And again, when that thing's toggled off, it should stay locked.
Okay.
Okay, when it's on, and that's again, that's a function we need to verify.
I assume I'm gonna have to update for daylight savings.
Well, yeah, I guess that's however you guys want to do it. I mean, if you're just setting at 6 a.m. to on and 10 p.m. to off, no matter what time of year it is, I mean, you're not having to worry about. Yeah, well, yeah.
I gotta change
sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, yeah. It's a very simple clock. So,
Those larger batteries, are those the drives for the motor?
No, there's no batteries for the motors. They're 120-volt motors. So these are some big batteries that, for some reason, this little battery right here that you should change periodically is all that is protecting the memory on the clock.
Oh. So if I take that out, I have to reprogram.
Well, if you take
But
that
all
out and turn the power off at the same time, it has that's the
Oh, okay. So
volatile memory.
that's
so.
just the backup. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. So as long as there's
These
actual
batteries,
power when I change out the battery, I won't
these
have
batteries don't back up the clock.
Okay.
Again, this was Doors and Hardware out of Great Falls supplied and coordinated all this stuff. So it's a kind of a mix of different products that.
Well, yeah, and then
It's a
different
I'm
hardware
gonna
company
be
did
like
the doors.
I'm going to be
so-
like Casey. It's a real pain in the ass the way they set this up. Not one company provides the product for everything.
Okay.
So again, what this is doing is this panel's controlling the push buttons and telling the doors to open and close. The clock is telling Onity's product to lock and unlock the door, and the card reader is tied into here. So,
Is there backup generator that's connected to the doors then if we lose power?
no?
So we completely lose ADA capabilities.
Yeah, you
if
lose
the
ADA
power's out.
capability if the power's out.
Okay.
So, text me, but anyway, that's pretty much these doors. I mean, everything's in hard pipe. It's all accessible. I tried to label everything for you as best I can,
Okay.
but again, there was some trial and error here on this one. This is really not useful in any way, shape, or form. I don't even know why it's sitting there.
So again, my question: will you be here on the 23rd? And Kevin's here.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
make sure that I'm here or Jeff's here.
Okay.
So, and for the time being, again, we're going to be down at Lake all for the next year, so
Okay.
we'll be around.
But yeah, Kevin Boggs, he'll be here. He's getting in that.
Well, and that's my question to them is that, I think that they need to make sure that when those locks pull in, that they pull in for an adequate amount of time for somebody in a wheelchair to be able to grab their suitcase, wheel back, and get through the door. And I just wanted to verify that because it didn't seem like it was 30 seconds to me, but I could be wrong. I didn't sit there and time it.
It's adjustable. So.
Yeah, and that's strictly on their end. So
Yep.
anyway.
Okay, good.